They thought I was a god, I think. It was just I never felt so good. It was pure luck. I've said it before about Scottish gillies. Anywhere in Scotland, if you pass your rod to a gilly, they'll cast it 25 yards further than you can hit a 5-iron. And with chalk stream keepers, most chalk stream keepers are fantastic fly fishers. It's just the amount of time they spend on the water, and it's their life, so it's expected. Now, one of the worst things that can happen to a keeper is when the fishermen say, well, go on then, you catch one, show me how it's done. Now, catching a stock trout on cue is fairly easily doable usually, but to catch a salmon or a sea trout on cue is a different matter, because they might not actually be any in the river. So it's tricky, but it's something that we have to try and do now and again. Now, one day when I was at Nursling, which was predominantly salmon and sea trout, it was a very hot sunny day, and a group of 5 or 6 fishless fishermen asked me exactly that. They just asked about how I catch salmon using a weighted nymph, and they tried all morning, no luck. Could I come and show them how to do it? Anyway, I said, yeah, of course. They were lovely blokes. I'll show you the demonstration. So my rod was always up on the wall in the fishing hut. So I took my rod off, always set up with a weighted nymph, went down to the second breakwater down, which was, because Vic had named it, was actually called the first breakwater, which is a beautiful deep pool. It was especially deep, maybe 10 foot deep. Sometimes you couldn't quite see the bottom because of the amount of weed. And it was a bit swirly. River was probably 12 foot wide there. It was deep and narrow, but a beautiful breakwater. Anyway, all these 6 fishermen followed me down to the first breakwater like a little troop of ducklings. In fact, I thought if I stopped quickly, they would have all walked into the back of me. Such was their keenness to keep up. Got to the first breakwater, where one of the ducklings, who was the expert, had said, no, I fished all the way through that half a dozen times this morning. It's not a fish, whatever. So I pulled off 10 or 12 feet of line from my reel. I roll cast a weighted nymph, perhaps 10 or 12 feet upstream of the breakwater. It was quite quick water. And I started to give a running commentary to these 6 fishers who were stood in a line. And I said, right, I roll cast up that deep just to buy depth. And I said, you can see now that nymph's dropping down through the water. Just hold it a little bit. It comes into the pool. As it comes into the pool, you can see where that nymph is. And now just a slow lift with the rod. And now, can you see that? Look at that nymph. And you could then suddenly see the nymph, the JW weighted nymph. And it started to just come up to the top. And I said, when it comes up to the top like that, just hold for a second. What happened? This beautiful little silver grouse, probably 5 pounds, just came up from the bottom and nailed this nymph. I mean, and its tail folded over in the surface as it took the nymph and went back down again. And the fishermen, the ducklings, were unbelievably impressed. They all jumped. But the trick was, or where I won, I carried on the commentary as if it was all part of the demonstration. So when the fish takes like that, then it's important. Don't give it too much line. Keep downstream of it. Off it goes. And this little grouse went bombing upstream. Fish eventually came back in the pool. One of the guys netted it, fell in a little bit. We left it in the net, in the water, just took the nymph out, a quick little look at the grouse, and off it swam. And I kind of got back up and I said, and that's usually the way that you do it. Anyway, they didn't burst into applause, but I knew that they wanted to. Now, it was a 1 in a million thing that happened. That grouse was probably not there in the morning, and it just all worked out for me. And I said, so there you go, boys. And they said, right. And I turned around and I walked back up towards the fishing hut, and I had the biggest grin on my face, but I didn't want them to see it, because even ducklings, fishless ducklings, they love to see expertise, but I think deep down nobody likes a smart ass. The demonstration.